It's time for Recipe of the Day. Happy Friday. We made it. And we are now in April. Temperatures are warming up across the continent. Well, mostly. And so if you're thinking about doing some outdoor cooking today, I thought it'd be a great time to tell you about how to make smoked chicken breasts at home. And I'm actually focusing on how to do it if you don't have a smoker. I'm kind of assuming that if you have a smoker, you know how to use it. It came with instructions. They're all kind of different. So you probably don't need a lot of information. But for those of you who just want to smoke something every now and then, don't want to have a whole piece of equipment, want to know how to do it, a great place to start is with chicken breasts. Now, chicken breasts, as you know, can be a little bit dry, and these are on the grill for quite a while. A cool grill, like not a super hot grill, but still. So I do recommend, have you guessed it already? You are probably correct. I recommend that you brine them first, and actually even that you brine them for longer than I would normally recommend. So, I've done those experiments on how to brine chicken breasts. I will link to that in the show notes for you. But in those experiments, I found that the optimum amount of time was between 1 and 2 hours, really. And here I'm recommending that you go further, more like 4 hours. You really want those to soak up that salt water, be nice and plump and juicy. I will say, if you are sensitive to salt, if you don't like when things do get a little bit on the salty side, then you want to keep it closer to 2 hours. I think it's important to think about where you're going to be using these chicken breasts. If they're going to be going on salads and in other things, then it's okay if they're a little bit on the salty side, right? Because they're going to be balanced out by the other things that maybe don't have as much salt. However, you're eating them whole, as a chicken breast for dinner by itself. I mean, it'll have side dishes, but it's not as part of another dish, then you might want to keep them less salty, Okay, so you're going to mix together 4 cups of cool water, so not warm water or anything like that, with 4.5 tablespoons of Morton's kosher salt. And you do that in a big bowl and you just stir it until the salt dissolves. It will dissolve. And then you're adding 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts into there. And the whole thing is going into the fridge for 4 hours or 2 hours if you were choosing to do it for less time. Then while those are in there, you can get some other things ready. You can get your seasoning blend ready. It's 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of paprika, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and half a teaspoon of onion powder. If you are not brining the chicken breasts, then you can add a tablespoon of kosher salt right in there, and then that'll add the salt. If you are brining them, though, you don't want to add salt here. And if you're using a different seasoning blend, a store-bought one or homemade one, make sure it doesn't contain salt. I also will say it's probably a good idea if it doesn't contain pepper. I find that black pepper can get a little bit bitter when it cooks for a long time, and these are going to be cooking for a while. But that's not as important as skipping the salt if you're brining, Okay, and if you are going to be using a regular grill, you're going to get your wood chip packet ready. So you want a 16-inch piece of heavy-duty aluminum foil. Nice big piece. You don't have to measure it. You just want a nice big piece. And then you're putting a nice big handful of wood chips or pellets right in the middle. It doesn't matter which one you use. The pellets will smoke for a little bit longer, but we're not going to need the full time of smoking for these. So either one, the wood chips or the pellets, just make sure you are buying wood that was made for smoking. It doesn't have any kind of weird treatment on it or anything like that. You don't want to, take apart a bookcase and use that wood, right? You want to make sure that you're buying wood or wood pellets that are designed for cooking purposes. And I'm going to say here, if you've seen people do this before, you are wondering why I have not told you to soak them in water. It is because they're going to smoke better if they're not wet. We don't really want them steaming. We want them producing smoke, right? And they will. Don't worry. You don't have to soak them actually. And if you're using pellets and you soak those in water, they're just going to disintegrate. So absolutely not if you're using pellets, and don't do it if you're using wood chips either. Just put them into that foil, and then you're just folding it into a nice big flat packet, and you want to seal the edges really well all the way around. And then you're going to poke it with a fork on one side about 10 to 20 times. More pokes is going to give you more smoke. So, keep that in mind. But I do it about 20 times, and now your packet is ready. And I'm going to tell you, once you do this one time, you're probably going to want to do it more often because it really is easy and fantastic. You can add a little bit of smoky flavor whenever you're doing grilling. You're doing some steaks, put a little smoke packet on the grill before you start cooking them, and you're going to get that smoky flavor. So I'm telling you, do it this one time if you've never done it before. But then after that, when you go to make one of these packets, make a few of them so you have them on hand so you can just grab one when you want to toss it onto the grill, because I know you're going to like it. But yeah, so try it once and then you'll be convinced, and then you'll be doing it all the time. Okay, so now you have your packet and you have your seasoning blend, and your chicken breasts are probably brining. Okay, now you get the chicken breasts out of the brine and you're just going to pat them dry. You don't want to rinse them off. And then you're going to sprinkle them with that seasoning blend all over. Use all of it. It's just the right amount for the 4 chicken breasts. And then just leave them on the counter, like on a cutting board or whatever, for about 15 minutes because you just want those flavors to kind of penetrate and get going. And during this time, you can get your grill ready. So you are preparing your grill for indirect cooking over low heat. To do that, you want one burner over medium and the others are all off. Now, obviously things get a little bit approximate here because this depends a bit on the size of your grill, how many burners it has. But I've done this with a 5-burner grill and a 3-burner grill, and it works about the same way. Okay. So you're just getting that low temperature inside of the grill. And then you're going to put your foil packet over the burner that's set to medium, so the one that's on. And you can put it kind of at the back so it's just out of the way. Doesn't really matter because you're not using that grill, the one over the medium heat. And it's going to take about 5 minutes for it to get smoking. So you can wait those 5 minutes. Your chicken is chilling out, and wait the 5 minutes till it starts smoking. And then you're going to put those chicken breasts on the grill on the burners that have not been turned on. Okay. So they're going to be in this cooler heat area. Oh, I should have said you're covering the grill while you're waiting for that packet to start smoking, and you're going to put the chicken breasts on there and you're going to cover the grill again. Now, I'm just going to say that the best thing that you can do here for really making sure that that chicken does not dry out juicy, delicious the way you want it is to use a probe thermometer that continuously tells you the temperature inside the chicken, so you take it off at exactly the right time. And like I said, it's a little bit approximate because it does depend on the size of your grill, how hot your own grill gets, all of that kind of thing. Even how far the chicken breasts are from that medium heat source in the middle. I do push them off to the side, but again, if it's a bigger grill, they're going to be further away, right? So having a probe thermometer that is heat safe, the kind I mean, that goes into the thickest part of one of the chicken breasts, and then the little digital reader goes outside of the grill, cover the grill, reader is on the outside, and you will know when it gets to the right temperature. You can even get one that sets an alarm, so it'll let you know when it's ready. I think there's even super fancy ones that'll give you an alarm on your phone, but we don't need that. So then you are cooking it until it is at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to take 40 to 60 minutes for that to happen. And so when it's at 160, you're going to take them off the heat, and your smoker still might be smoking, but don't worry about it. If that foil packet's still going, just leave it on there. It'll stop at some point. And once everything is really cold, you can take it off of the grill and you're done with that. I was about to say just put it in the garbage, but be extra careful. Douse it in some water, leave it, so it's not going to start any fires anywhere. You know what I mean? Okay. So now your chicken breasts are off the grill. You are letting them rest, covered in a little bit of aluminum foil for about 5 minutes. You do want that temperature to come up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the safe temperature for chicken. And in that rest time, all those juices are going to redistribute and calm down inside the chicken. And there's a lot of that delicious smoky flavor in those juices. You do not want to cut open your piece of chicken and have all those juices go away. So let them all redistribute in there and your chicken is done. You can slice it and serve immediately, or you can keep it in the fridge for some really great smoked chicken sandwiches and salads, and put it in tacos and on nachos and all the good things. Okay, I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is April 4th of 2025. You could also get the link in our Facebook group. I post the recipe of the day link there every single day. You can always find what I'm talking about. The Facebook group is at facebook.com/groups/recipeotd. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookville.com, the all new chicken cookbook. And from this podcast recipe of the day, I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.